isn't it? But they did not perform the duty. They performed, though it seems that they have performed the duty, they have performed to teach the general people or people in general. Okay. Okay, Mayur Prabhu, read the verse. My phone ka hai?
कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् अस्थिता
आस्थितः जनकादयः
जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवेपि
एवापि
संपश्यन्
लोकसंग्रहम् एवापि
संपश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि. Meaning, kings such as Janaka attained perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating the people in general, you should perform your work. Purpose. Kings like Janaka were all self-realized souls. Consequently, they had no obligation to perform the prescribed duties in the Vedas. Nonetheless, they perform all prescribed activities just to set examples for the people in general. Janaka was the father of Sita and father-in-law of Lord Sri Rama. Being a great devotee of the Lord, he was transcendently situated. But because he was the king of Mithila, a subdivision of Bihar province in India, he had to teach his subjects how to perform prescribed duties. Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Lord's eternal friend, had no need to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra, but they fought to teach people in general that violence is also necessary in a situation where good arguments fail. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, every effort was made to avoid the war, even by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the other party was determined to fight. So, for such a right cause, there is a necessity for fighting. Although one who is situated in Krishna consciousness may not have any interest in the world, he still works to teach the public how to live and how to act. Experienced persons in Krishna consciousness can act in such a way that others will follow. And this is explained in the following verse.
यददाचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. Very important verse which has to be memorized. यददाचरते श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत् प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. यददाचरति श्रेष्ठस् 3.21 open first. यददाचरति श्रेष्ठस्तत्तदेवेतरो जनः. So what is the meaning? Yad idacharati shreshthas tattadeve taro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. Whatever great personality do, general people will follow. That is why it is a responsibility of the leader to show the right path. It is said mother and father, they are the natural leaders. Yesterday in children program we were telling about one should not have a mobile in the hand while taking food. You know, there was a child who said, my father always sees TV and eats food. So what that father can teach, just tell me. Because what we are eating, we don't know. Our whole concentration is in the TV while we are eating the food. So if I have to teach that, first I should follow. If I don't follow, what I am going to teach others? Mother and father, they are natural leaders. So if I want good culture in my child, then mother and father also should have that culture. I want my children to wake up early in the morning. For that, mother and father also have to wake up early in the morning. I don't want my child to see TV and waste the time. For that, I also should do that. If father and mother, the natural leaders, when I'm talking about the first leader which a child sees, the first leader which a child sees is the father and the mother. Guru comes later. Guru is shown later, or Guru comes in the life later. But father and mother, they are the first leaders. And if they don't know how to behave, if they fight among themselves, and if they are into all type of illicit activities and all type of alcoholic things, what the child will learn. That is why it is the highest responsibility. If I want my child to be Krishna conscious, father and mother also should be Krishna conscious. Leave aside Krishna conscious. If I want my child to behave properly in this world, to be at least morally good, we are not talking about spiritually good, at least to be morally good, should not talk lies, should be well behaved. Generally, parents expect all these things. Should study properly. So many things the parents expect from the children. For that, parents have to sacrifice. That is why, anyhow, that sacrifice thing is going to come. So, yedidachariti sheshas. Now, in our society, we have leaders. We have leaders from different parties. But if the leader is not proper, then. But now somehow we have got a very good leader, wonderful leader who is ruling our land. So if we have good leader, then we can establish wonderful thing in the society. If the leader is wrong, then we cannot expect much from the people in general. Yad idacharati shreshthas. Shreshthas means the one who is in a position. Yad idacharati, whatever acharana the leader does, the same thing people in general will follow. Okay, Geeta Mataji, read.
Hare Krishna. Yadyadacharadi shreshta taddevetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurude lokastadanu vartate. Translation: whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets, he exemplary acts, all the world pursues. Purport: people in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called Acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures like Manu Samhita and similar others are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such standard Shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great leaders. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with the standard books of moral and spiritual codes. Hare Krishna.
That is why in Gurukul, in those days, brahmacharis used to be trained. A good brahmachari only can become a good grahastha because his mind is controlled. You cannot have any boy to be married. No. That boy may roam along with 10 girls. What type of learnings will he give to his child? That is why if the father, brahmacharyataha, refers to he is interested in spiritual life. He is interested in Brahma Jigyasu. He is a Brahma Jigyasu. He is interested in spiritual life. Then only he can give spirituality to his child. So a good grahastha is one who educates a child in Krishna consciousness. For that, he has to be a good brahmachari. Then only he can become a good grahastha. And if he is a good grahastha, then only he can become a good vanaprasthi. and then he can become a good sannyasi. Sometimes brahmacharis directly take up to sannyasa. They don't have to go through this process. But varnashrama refers to going step by step through processes. Sometimes ekanishta brahmacharis, they directly take from the brahmacharyataha to sannyasa. But whatever it may be, his consciousness should be in serving Krishna. If that is the mode, then he is a good father, he is a good citizen, then he teaches everyone to love everyone, love all the living entities. Because a Krishna conscious person only can be the most compassionate person in this world. How? Mamaivansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. Everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. A Krishna conscious person knows this. That is why he doesn't favor the slaughterhouses. He is not only compassionate to the human, he is also compassionate to every living entity. He cannot see the pain of a small chicken being cut. He cannot see the pain of a fish being cut. Because if he is a human, if he calls himself a human, human means one who has intelligence. One who has intelligence is the next door neighbor of the soul. That means he should be compassionate, he is Krishna conscious. Yadadachariti shreshta tattateve tarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. That is why a leader, natural leaders are the parents, and then comes Guru, the spiritual master. So now, if parents don't show that compassion, the children also will start learning that. Then somehow, by will of providence, a person gets a good spiritual master. And the spiritual master has to set an example. The spiritual master, acharati iti acharyaha. He has to follow certain rules and regulations. If he doesn't follow the rules and regulations, how can he preach? He cannot preach. So that is why acharati iti acharyaha. If I have to teach, wake up early in the morning, then I have to wake up first early in the morning. If I have to teach, chant 16 rounds, then I should also chant 16 rounds. If I have to say, follow 4 regulatory principles, then I should also follow 4 regulatory principles. That is why it is the great responsibility of the teacher first to set an example. You don't have to do anything. You just set an example. People watch you, people follow you. You just have to first set an example. If we set an example as natural leaders, then others also will automatically follow. Now, Krishna says in 22nd verse, for Krishna actually there is no duty. Because in 17th verse, if you see 3.17, Krishna says, yes, Tvatmarati Revasyad. Whoever is enjoying his self is Tvatmarati Revasyad, Atmatriptascha Manavaha, Atmanyevacha Santushtas Tatsakaryam na Vidyate. For a self-realized soul, there is actually no duty, no work. Again, this has been misunderstood by Arjuna. Where Krishna says there is no work, that means yes, there is no work with fruitive results. Now here Krishna says, for me there is no work, Krishna says. But still, I take up certain responsibilities. Just to set an example. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nanavaptavyam avaptavyam varta evacha karmani. Chant along with me. Name parthasti kartavyam. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. Trishu lokeshu kinchana. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. A technical word, this is. Nanavaptam avaptavyam. Varta evacha karmani. Varta evacha karmani. Name parthasti kartavyam. I do not have any prescribed work. There is no work prescribed for me within this planetary system. Krishna says, Trishu lokeshu kinchana. In this 3 planetary system, I don't have any work, any prescribed work. Nana vaptam avaptavyam. What is nana vaptam, na anavaptam, I do not want anything. Avaptavyam, I do not want any gain. Varte eva cha karmani, I am not in need of anything. Still, I engage myself in prescribed duties. Krishna says, just to set an example, I am not in want of anything, Krishna says. I do not need anything, but still I perform my prescribed duty. Like the children's prescribed duty is to take care of parents. It's not the parent is going to give me something. No, it's a duty. Even though the parents may not be much in favor, but still it is a duty of taking care of the parents. Simple. Elderly people, it's a duty to take care of them. Sometimes elderly people, they create a lot of disturbances, but still one has to perform duty. Because it's not that he wants something. No. Now Krishna is saying, I am not in need of anything, but still Krishna performs. Now Krishna became Parthasarathi. Do you think he's paid for it? Is he paid for it? No. He just did his duty. And there also he did it very nicely. He could have shown his godliness there. He is Lord, he is a supreme. But still he just was fine, just was doing the work of the charioteer. So that is how Krishna never transgressed anything. Where not required, Krishna did not transgress. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in the Vedic literature as follows. Tam Ishwarana Paramam Maheshwaram Tam Devatana Paramam Chadaivatam Patim Patina Paramam Parasta Vidamadevam Bhavanisham Idyam Nadasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate चाभ्यतिकश्च दृश्यते परासशक्तिर्विविधैव श्रूयते स्वाभाविकी ज्ञानबलक्रिया च. Krishna says, I am the controller. After I explain this verse, Jayashree will read the verse and the meanings. First, let me explain this verse. Tam Ishwaranam, I am the Ishwaraha. Paramam Tame Maheshwaram, of all the Ishwaras, of all the controllers, I am the supreme controller. Tam Devatanam Paramam Chadaivatam. So he is the greatest of all the planetary leaders. Paramam Chadaivatam. Patim Patinam. So he is the real Pati. Palaniti is, everyone is under his control. All energies are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. Vidam Devam Bhuvanesham Idyam. Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate. He doesn't have any work, if you see. Now again here it is given. He is also worshipable by all the demigods. He is the Supreme Director of all the directors. He is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him. He is the supreme cause of all causes. Vidam Devam Bhuvanesha Idyam. And then again it is said here, Natasya Karyam Karanam Charityate. He doesn't have any work. He is equal to everyone. Samascha Abhiyadhikascha Drishyate. He is very equal to everyone. There is nobody like very dear to him or somebody is hateful to him. No. He has multifarious energies. Parasa Shaktir Vivideva Shruyate. He has multifarious energies. He doesn't have to do anything. Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. He doesn't have to do anything. Everything automatically happens because of his Jnana Bala Kriya. So that is the power of Krishna. Tam Devatanam Paramam. He is the head of all the Devatas. Patim Patinam. In this way, he is the protector of everyone. For Krishna, there is no work. Why should he do any work? He doesn't want anything. Why we're doing some work? Because we want something. Krishna doesn't have to do anything. We go to office because we want to eat. For Krishna, everything is available. He doesn't have to do anything because he has multifarious energies. His energies do the work. He doesn't have to do any work. His energies do the work, and that too automatically happens. Swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. Even the creation also, he is not taking directly part. He doesn't take any direct part in creation, maintenance. Everything is done by his energies. He just has to expand. Balaram does everything. So if you see Krishna is doing or Balaram is doing, it's Balaram who does. That is why Balaram is Sevaka Bhagavan. And Krishna is Sevita Bhagavan. He doesn't have to do anything. But still Krishna says, sometimes I do. I set an example. I follow certain prescribed duties and I set an example. Okay, Pushpa, read the verse. No, Jayashri, I told. Wait a minute. Let Jayashri finish. Whom
Hare
I told?
Krishna.
Jayashri, I told. No? Okay.
Hare Krishna. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यं त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन नानावाक्तमवाक्तव्यं वर्त एव च कर्मणि. Translation. O son of Partha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary system, nor am I want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. The Supreme Lord is the controller of all other controllers, and he is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all demigods and is the supreme director of all directors. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. He does not possess bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other sense. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multi multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. Shastravadhara Upanishad 6.78. Since everything is in full opulence in the personality of Godhead and is existing in full truth, there is no duty for the Supreme Personality of Godhead to perform. One who must receive the results of work has some designated duty, but one who has nothing to achieve within the three planetary system certainly has no duty. And yet Lord Krishna is engaged on battlefield of Kurukshetra as the leader of Kshatriyas because the Kshatriyas are duty bound to give protection to the distressed. Although he is above all the regulations of revealed scriptures, he does not do anything that violates the revealed scriptures. Hare Krishna.
Yadi ham na varteyam. Yadi ham na varteyam. Jato karmanya tandritaha. Mama vartmanu vartante. Manushya partha sarvashaha. Yadi ham na varteyam. Jato karmanya tandritaha. Mama vartmanu vartante. Manushya partha sarvashaha. Yadi ham na varteyam. Jato karmanya tandritaha. Mama vartmanu vartante. Manushya partha sarvashaha. Yadi ham. Hi aham. Yadi ham. navarteyam. If I do not perform the duties, what will happen? Everybody also will do the same thing. All mama vartmanu vartante. Mama vartamaha, my path. Anuvartante. All will follow. That is why Dwarka Leela is followed, not Vrindavan Leela. In Vrindavan Leela, Krishna stole the garments of the gopis, which Krishna says don't follow. But Krishna took up the responsibility of marrying 16,100 queens. He gave the right teachings to Arjuna. Some is like playful pastimes, which we cannot follow. Certain things Krishna has shown. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches the duties. So that we have to follow. So if Krishna says, if I do not do that, a common person also will not perform the prescribed duties. He will also start following my path. That is why Krishna says, even I perform the prescribed duties just to show the person in general. Mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvashah. Common person also will follow my path. Okay, Pushpa read.
यद्य अहं न वर्तेयं चातु कर्मणि अतन्द्रितः मम वर्तमनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वसः. For if I ever
one minute. Karmanyatandritah. One second. यदि हम न वर्तेयम, हाँ, read. तन्द्रितः.
चातु कर्मणि अतित्रिन्दितः.
Don't say karmani and all. Just say jatu karmanyatandritah.
जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः. तन्द्रितः. मम वर्तमनुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वसः.
मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वशः.
मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वसः. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Parth, certainly all men would follow my path. In order to keep the balance of social tranquility for progress in spiritual life, there are traditional family usages meant for every civilized man. Although such rules and regulations are for the conditioned souls and not Lord Krishna, because he descended to establish the principles of religion. He followed the prescribed rules, otherwise common men would follow in his footsteps, because he is the greatest authority. From the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that Lord Krishna was performing all the religious duties at home and out of home as required of a householder.
उत्सीदेयोरिमे लोका न कुर्यामि कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्याम् इमा प्रजाः. उत्सीदेयोरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्याम् इमा प्रजाः. Read. उत्सीदेयोरिमे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्याम् इमा प्रजाः. Most beautiful verse. Krishna says, Utsideyur ime loka, the whole world will be put in ruination. The person doesn't perform his duties, what will happen? Father doesn't perform his fatherly duties, mother doesn't perform the motherly duties, children don't perform the duties. What will happen? The whole world will be put in ruination. Everybody has certain duties. Pujari has a duty. The cook has a duty. Somebody says, I will not perform my duty. What will happen? If I do not perform the prescribed duty, Krishna says, whole world will be put in ruination. And I will be the cause for creating unwanted population. Sankarasya. You see why Krishna spoke this? In first chapter, if you see, Arjuna says, if I take part in the war, everybody will be killed. And because of that, there will be rise of Varna Sankara. Krishna says, no, if you do not perform the duty, then there will be rise of Varna Sankara, unwanted population. Because as a leader, you are supposed to show the guidelines for the people in general. And Krishna sets himself on, see, even I have to perform. The one doesn't say, oh, you are Krishna. No, sometimes a spiritual master has to say like this. Krishna himself tells, I am also doing. Then now Arjuna did not say, you are Krishna, why I should do. Krishna says, when I am doing, you are supposed to do. When I am doing, that means you are also supposed to do your prescribed duties. Because if I do not do that, the whole world will be put in ruination and there will be a rise of unwanted children. What is the meaning of unwanted children? The children who don't know their duties. They just waste their time. So I'll be the cause of unwanted children who are doing all type of illicit, nonsensical activities. Such type of population will be created. So I will be destroying the peace of all living beings. Because Varna Sankaras generally, they destroy the peace of everyone. They'll destroy the peace of all living entities. That has been told. So Varna Sankaras, what they are doing? There's so many, see, there are boys and the girls and the free mixing going on or not. What are they? It is all uncared, unwanted children who never have any goal for themselves, neither they set goals for the others also. They just waste time. They don't have a small tinge of bhakti. Varna Sankara means the children who don't have any bhakti. Okay. Saurabh Prabhu.
उत्सीदेयुर्मे लोका न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहं शङ्करस्य च कर्तास्याम् उपहन्यामिमः प्रजः. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. Varna Shankara is unwanted population which disturbs the peace of the general society. In order to check this social disturbance, there are prescribed rules and regulations by which the population can automatically become peaceful and organized for spiritual progress in life. When Lord Krishna descends, naturally he deals with the such rules and regulations in order to maintain the prestige and necessity of such important performances. The Lord is the father of all living entities, and if the living entities are misguided, indirectly the responsibility goes to the Lord. Therefore, whenever there is general disregard of regulated principles, the Lord himself descends and corrects the society. We should, however, note carefully that although we have to follow in the footsteps of the Lord, we still have to remember that we cannot imitate him. Following and imitating are not on the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting Govardhana hill, as the Lord did in his childhood. It is impossible for any human being. We have to follow his instructions, but we may not imitate him at any time. The Srimad Bhagavatam affirms, one should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and his empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. One should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva. We should always consider the position of the Ishwaras, or those who can actually control the movements of the sun and moon, as superior. Without such power, one cannot imitate the Ishwaras who are super powerful. Lord Shiva drank poison to the extent of swallowing an ocean. But if any common man tries to drink even a fragment of such poison, he will be killed. There are many pseudo devotees of Lord Shiva who want to indulge in smoking ganja and similar intoxicating drugs. forgetting that by so imitating the Lord of imitating the acts of Lord Shiva, they are calling death very near. Similarly, there are some pseudo devotees of Lord Krishna who prefer to imitate the Lord in his Rasa Leela or dance of love, forgetting their inability to lift Govardhan hill. It is best, therefore, that one not try to imitate the powerful, but simply follow their instructions, nor should one try to occupy their post without qualification. There are so many incarnations of God without the power of the Supreme Godhead.
So people try to imitate Lord Shiva. Oh, that is why we are also drinking bhang. Not bhang, you drink poison. You want to become God? Lift Govardhan. What Govardhan? They cannot even lift the paper Govardhan also. 7 days to stand in one position, they cannot do that. So it is not so easy to imitate God. Sakta karmanya vidvamso yatha kuruvanti bharata kuryad vidvamsatha saktash chikirshur loka sangraham. Sakta karmanya vidvamso yatha kuruvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha shaktash kuryad vidvams tatha saktash chikirshur loka sangraham. Krishna says, perform your duties. How? But how the ignorant perform? That now Krishna is speaking. Ignorance, they perform their duties with attachment to the results. Saktaha karmani. They are attached to the results. Avidvamsa. Avidvamsa means ignorant people. On the other hand, Vidwan, he also performs his duty. But he has no attachment to the results. But he has no attachment to the results. Without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. That is why he is performing his duty. Ignorant person performs his duty because he is interested in the result. As the ignorant perform the duties with attachment to the results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. Like getting married is one of the important aspects. You cannot remain without getting married, especially women cannot remain without getting married. So she has to get married. But if she's interested in Krishna consciousness, doesn't mean that she has to leave everything. She can perform her duties and be Krishna conscious. Take care of her children. A man has an option of being a brahmachari or entering in grastashram. If he is a brahmachari, then he should full-time join the temple. He cannot remain outside, be unmarried. Then if he is remaining outside and unmarried, then he has to get married. So there are certain, because others also will follow that path. Because the mind and the senses are like venomous snakes. It has to be under the shelter of the spiritual master to remain a brahmachari. And then he can take the path of being a brahmachari and advance till sannyas. Or get married. There's nothing problem. Be a good grahastha, set an example. Teach the children, Krishna conscious, set an example. So one has to understand that performing an activity is not a problem. Getting attached to the results is a problem. Without getting attached to the results, just perform the activity. Okay, Shilpani. What happened? Kuryad vidvam satha saktash chikirshur loka sangraham. The voice is not coming proper. Okay, Palash, read the purport. Unmute.
Yes, Mataji. As the ignorant performs their duties with attachment to results, they learned many similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path. A person in Krishna consciousness and a person not in Krishna consciousness are differentiated by different desires. A Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not conducive to development of Krishna consciousness. He may even act exactly like the ignorant person who is too much attached to the material activities. But one is engaged in such activeness for the satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other is engaged for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness person is required to show the people how to act and how to engage the result of action for the purpose of Krishna consciousness.
Now, such ignorant persons are there, then what he should do? So tell them, don't do like this, don't do like that. No. If there are ignorant people, let them be in ignorance, but a learned person should be very expert to engage them in Krishna consciousness. That is why there are some pride businessmen, those who don't want to listen, okay, let them not listen. You engage them in such a way, give them some task for taking donations, engaging them. So it is an expertise of a learned person how to engage even an ignorant in Krishna consciousness. Because he is not going to listen. Even if you go and tell him, don't be attached to the results, he is not going to listen. So better is, it is said here, na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktah samacharan. Na buddhi bhedam janayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidwan yuktah samacharan. Na buddhi bhedam, don't disturb them. Don't disturb them. Let them do what they want. Janayet. Agyanam, they are agyanis, they are foolish people. Karma sanginam, they are too attached to the fruitive results. Then what you should do? Joshayeta, dovetail. Dovetail all their work. How? Ask donation. Best thing, ask donation. So they are too interested in the results. Take the result only. Go on asking donation. You should be expert in going on. Somebody told me, Mataji, every 2 days you put something or other donation schemes. I told, this is my work. I have to do that. Somebody wants to give, don't want to give, don't give. Some or other donation should be there, either in the form of yatras, or in the form of some annadan, some festivals. If you don't do that, what will happen? They are so much interested in the results, they will use the results in drinking and smoking. Better is, take the results, give it to Krishna. And if you are expert in doing that, you should do it. But you should not touch the results. One should not have any desire to touch the result. Only that person can do this. Because it is an Agni, sacrifice is an Agni. Very clearly said. Joshayet sarva karmani, dovetail all the work, and learned person should do that. Vidwan yuktaha samacharan. One has to do that. Srila Prabhupada has introduced all these donation schemes just to dovetail the results of the ignorant person in Krishna consciousness. Simple. Somebody will ask you why you are asking donation, immediately tell this verse. Na buddhi bedam jane ajnanam karma sangina joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samachara. Father, and the most intelligent person. I am using your results in Krishna consciousness. We have a wonderful devotee here who is studying with me. He is a rich man's son. It's Gautam here. He's a rich builder's son. He uses his father's money in Krishna consciousness because he is Krishna conscious. He wants his father also to become Krishna conscious. What to do? So I was telling him, it's a very good thing. And Pichara father also listens. Whatever you say, then father listens. He likes to do all this charity work. Okay. Who will read? Aditya read. Aditya, are you in your office?
Yes, but I can read matters.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Na buddhi bhedam janeyat ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet yetsa sarva joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. Translation: so as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Purport: Vedesha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyah. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, all performances of sacrifices, and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all directions for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic ritual, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna. The learned Krishna conscious person may act in such a way that the ignorant person working for sense gratification may learn how to act and how to behave. Although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna conscious person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. For this fortunate man, there is no need to follow the Vedic rituals because by direct Krishna consciousness, one can have all the results one would otherwise derive from following one's prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Stop here. Any questions you can ask. Any questions? No questions. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mancha kalpatarubhesha. Kripa Sindhu Bhyavacha. Patitanam Pavanibhyo. Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Our little line Manjari also wants to tell some shloka. One. Okay.
श्रवणं कीर्तनं विष्णु स्मरणं पादसेवनम् अर्चनं वन्दनं दासं सख्यं आत्मनिवेदनम् इति पुंसार्पिता विष्णु भक्तिश्चैनवलक्षणा क्रियेत भगवत्यद्धा तन्मन्येधीतमुत्तमम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
वैष्णवृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Om.